Well, as we left off last time, Paul was back in his cell at the Antonia fortress, as much for his own safety as anything else. And a mob of Judean Jews, along with some of the Sadducean members of the Sanhedrin, wanted to kill Paul, each for their own reasons. The Judean Jews, you see, had heard falsely that Paul was a traitor to Judaism and to Jewishness, as he was seen regularly consorting with these hated Gentiles. Now, the reasons for the Sanhedrin's determination to rid themselves of him are less clear. But my conclusion is that it was because Paul had openly defied them. The first time was many years earlier. He was sent by the then high priest to arrest some Jesus sympathizers. Instead, Paul turned and became one of them. Second was because the Sadducees were aristocrats, and they didn't take it lightly when a common Jew developed his own following. Paul's popularity among so many diaspora Jews was viewed as a threat to their authority and to peace with Rome. But third, the Sanhedrin was convinced that Paul was teaching people to have no regard for the temple. The temple was Sadducee headquarters. And the high priest and most of the senior priests were Sadducees. And since the high priest was the chief justice of the Sanhedrin, and because the income from the temple was highly lucrative, this was a direct attack upon his territory and upon his personal finances. The Jewish sect of the Essenes had already openly rebelled against the temple authorities, and subsequently many of its members moved to Qumran, out by the Dead Sea. They set up their own community, and they began training a replacement priesthood. That didn't sit too well with the priests. The head of the Sanhedrin, the high priest, didn't need someone else of substantial influence coming against him, creating a following, and maybe causing others to follow suit. So the most fanatical among the Judean Jews, probably the Zealots and the Sicarii, about 40 of them, banded together and they formed a plan to draw the Roman guard out of their fortress, attack them, take Paul away from them, assassinating him on the spot. They took their plan to the high priest. He offered cooperation. But somehow Paul's young nephew heard of the plan. And he went to the Antonia fortress and was allowed to tell Paul about it. Paul sent him to the Roman commander, Lysias, who believed the young man. I mean, after what Lysias had witnessed, he had no reason not to believe that a murder plot was underfoot.